Welcome back. So hopefully you and your partner have read through the procedure steps. You've read in detail the things that I just glanced over, and now we're ready to work on a prediction. Now if we were doing this in a class setting, we would have a conversation about this, or you'd be able to talk with a partner. Some of you might be watching this on your own, and so you don't have that benefit. So we're going to kind of help you out here. So you notice that in our prediction, what we want to answer is, what might happen to the sand in the model when the Eurasian and the Indian plates move towards each other? So I'm going to just underline here for you the fact that we are wanting to know what happens to the sand. We're not talking about what's going to happen to the paper or what's going to happen to anything else. What's going to happen to the sand when the Eurasian plate and the Indian plate move together? Now remember, our Eurasian plate is taped to the table. Our Indian plate is the one that's going to be moving, okay? So in our prediction, we're going to start off with, if we, and what are we going to do? We're going to move the Indian plate. So move the Indian plate. You should be writing this on yours. Indian plate towards the Eurasian plate. Towards the Eurasian plate. Okay, now we're down to the then. So we've done this before. If we move the Indian plate towards the Eurasian plate, then what are we talking about? The sand. The sand will, and now here's your turn. Okay, so what is the sand going to do? Do not write a question mark. You need to write what you think the sand is going to do. And then because. Why? So I'm going to give you a minute. You are going to finish the then statement. Then the sand will do what? Because, and then tell me why. Okay, we're going to go ahead and pause for a moment. Okay, you're back. So hopefully that means that you have finished off your hypothesis, okay? So I'm going to show you the basics of how you're going to do this. You and your partner are going to be, let's clear that. You and your partner are going to be following the procedure steps. And notice it says that this is trial 1. Okay, so trial 1, procedure steps. It shows you in the beginning how to do the basic setup, which I have already done with you. You and your partner, when given permission, are going to start doing this. You're going to set it up just like we did on the table. All right, and we are down to step number 3. You put all the sand in the shaded area and smooth it out. It also says you need to record your observations on the data table, okay? So first I want to talk about what observations are. If you scroll back here underneath our model picture, it talks about when you make an observation. Now, an observation is what I see, hear, smell, taste, or feel right here, okay? Now, we've talked before. We are not tasting anything in science. So we're going to eliminate that sense. We have 5 senses. We're not going to use that one. Feeling, I've also told you you're not going to be touching the sand. But when you move things, you might be able to feel something as you move the paper. So you could do a feel one, but you're not touching the sand. Smelling, if you walk this, it smells like the beach, only a clean beach. So making a smell observation, probably not going to be real helpful in deciding what's going to happen. But seeing, you're going to do a visual, and hearing, you might hear some things as you're moving it. When you're seeing things, you need to describe exactly what you're seeing here. If someone were on the phone and you were reading it to them, they need to visualize what it is you're looking at. If you're using words like mountain, hill, valley, rift, the person is going to envision being up in the mountains looking at giant things. What you're going to create here in this activity is not going to be a giant thing. You can climb a mountain. If I climb this, I will squish it. So we are not using the words mountain, hill, valley, rift, any of those other terms. You need to describe what you actually see. So think about words like pile, like a small bump, some other way to describe this so that somebody on the phone would know what it is you're looking at. Make sure you write what you see or what you hear. You cannot tell me what you think it might be using other vocabulary words you know. All right, there comes a time for that, but this is not that time. Observations are only what is actually happening, okay? The other thing you need to look at is if you scroll over past your trial, your procedure steps, you will see the data tables, okay? Notice the data table says I need to record data for year 0. That's my starting place. I need to record data for 10, 20, and 30 million years. And on your paper, you will see lines for each of those. All right? And so as you slide this under, you will stop at each of those lines. All right? And when you stop at that place, that's when you're going to record your measurements. On your procedure, it's going to tell you exactly when to stop, when to record, when to measure. You need to read everything that it says and do not do the next procedure step until both you and your partner agree that it's time. If you start moving things and your partner hasn't done something or you don't read carefully, you're going to mess up the lab. Okay? And that's not going to be a good thing. So reading carefully is an important step. Communicating with your partner is an important step. So you'll notice that as you go through, anytime you need to record, it's in bold. When you need to measure, when to record, it's going to show you any movements you're going to do are going to be slowly, and it's going to tell you when to stop. All right? Again, read your procedure steps carefully. So I think at this point, you and your partner are going to go through this. You're going to work together. I'm going to show you what should happen, just the basics. I'm not going to do any recording, but I'm going to show you, in case you're doing this wrong, this is what you should be able to see. So if I move the Indian plate under my Eurasian plate and stop at that next line, so Ms. Lim, if you want to move in a little closer here, you should be able to see that something, you can tip just a little forward, there you go, that something happened here. And any measurements you're going to do are going to be right on this line, right where your Indian plate and your Asian plate meet. Okay? So you're not measuring here or here. You can do all your measurements right here where the two pieces of paper come together. All right, so read carefully, communicate with your partner, follow your procedure steps, and all should be well. So good luck.